Hello to the tutorial on wet maps for 3D worlds. Wet maps are a special technique to simulate the effects of surfaces that got wet or that are drying. So if you these wet maps are just created by textures, and these textures are created inside realflow. So we will be exporting the cup, this piece of the table here, to realflow. Then we'll apply a wet map there and get that back into Maya. First, in order to make a wet map, you need a proper UV layout. So there are UVs on this part of the table. I will be putting a texture onto that one when the wet map's done, so we can do the export now. In order to export to realflow, you gotta make sure that you have turned on your plugins. This is the where is it? The realflow plugin. This has to be loaded, realflow.ml. MLL.ml. Alright. And then we can export it. So we have to go to the realflow tab here, select our objects in the scene. Since they are static, there won't be any troubles with the export, I suppose. Go to File, Export Selection, and there's the window, there's realflow SD. Just in case realflow SD is not there as a file type, just click there and select it from the menu. We can toggle off use playback range and just export one frame, because the more complex your geometry is, okay, in our case it's not very complex, but the more complex your geometry is, the longer it will take realflow to export that over a certain time frame. And if we have a non-animated piece of geometry like we do have here, it's probably not useful to wait for a couple of minutes in order to have something exported. So I leave the rest pretty much at default and export the selection to Maya. Export that selection into realflow. Just select the appropriate location. 3dw map objects. Oh no, it's wrong. Wet maps QA. This is the project for this one. And let's say cup and table SD. I'll export my selection, and then I'm going to open realflow and put this into the frame so you can see better. A little bit like that. Alright, and now I'll import it by clicking on import object. Cup table, it automatically gets into our scene files objects menu. Open, and there we are. So next thing we need is some place to have the water come out, so I'll go here and create circle emitter. And I'll rotate that a little bit. Scale that to 0.5 maybe. 0.5. 0.5, something like this, and position that somewhere into the cup. Right click and change the shading to flat shaded, because so it might be seen better where the image is pointing at. Drag it to back of cup, and then put all these into global links. Probably, depending on your personal setup, all stuff is automatically put into the global links, but as I prefer it, I switch off the default add to global links, so you might turn that on or off. I prefer working with it toggled off. Alright, next thing we need is some gravity in the scene. Here's gravity, maybe some drag force. What the drag does is it takes out the momentum out of fluid motion, simulating a bit of a kind of an atmosphere and preventing the particles from jittering too much. Also make sure that they'll be appearing there in the global links, because otherwise your particles that are emitted by the realflow01 emitter will not react to gravity, because it's not connected. So now let's do a first quick test. Before testing anything in RealFlow, I always recommend saving the project, because you never know what happens in the background and probably everything crashes, and so you prevent it from building up the whole scene again. And there we are. There's something flowing out of that cup, and we can now say speed set the speed to 0, frame 35. If you like to, you can also make the animation dynamic, so you can fill up the cup and knock it down, and then have all the liquid spilled there on the table. What I'll do next is I'll open the particle fluid interaction settings, and I'll give it a little more roughness. Let's say 0.05. What that will do is nothing right now. Where's that realflow01? We need to turn it back on again. What that roughness will do is, well, simulate a bit roughness for the table, and so it will prevent the particles from going over that table as if it were something like a mirror surface or something like this. It's still very fast, but well, it's moving kind of like. It's doing as it's supposed to, kind of.